Oh. Oh.
I'm talking about my life. I can't seem to get that through to you.
Blah, 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 blah.
I'm not just talking about one person. I'm talking about everybody.
You know you're dying. We're all dying. I'm tired of a lot of baloney.
I'm talking about form. I'm talking about content. I'm talking about interrelationships. I'm talking about God, the devil, hell, heaven. Do you understand? Finally!
Hi everyone, Guardiane here. I didn't plan on doing a rant on this. I really didn't want to. I wanted to be happy with this topic. I wanted to not make a rant. I don't want to make a rant about it. I wanted to walk away from this game with this huge smile on my face, like, this is the ending I was hoping for. An epic ending to an epic game. No. It's not what I got at all. I got not the complete opposite. Not like a Star Trek or a Transformers movie ending feeling. Not like dread, like this is the worst thing I've ever seen. It wasn't that bad. Before I go into the whole Grandia 2 ending and why I'm disappointed, there wasn't too many. There was videos about the game out there and forums, but the Grandia games aren't too highly like Final Fantasy-esque fame, right? They were kind of like, well, let me go back to the beginning. So for those of you who don't know what Grandia is, it's like a Final Fantasy-esque series that in each sequel to the Grandia game, it's not an actual sequel from the previous game, it's just a whole new story, like Final Fantasy 1 through 50 billion. Each game is its own story, own set of characters, everything. It's not a direct sequel to the previous game, but Grandia does the same thing. Unless, you know, I guess some Final Fantasy games have sequels, like Final Fantasy X2. Like, why did you make an X2? I mean, Final Fantasy X was good, okay. I didn't need a sequel. What the hell? I make a sequel to that game? Why not 7-2? Anyway, that's something else. Grandia 1. I played for the original PlayStation back in its day. I loved the game. I loved everything about it. It was a long game. It felt lengthy. Like, wow, this game's really in depth. I love the characters. I loved where they're going with it. I love the storyline. I liked the romance they were building in it. You know, even though they were just kids, so I understood how the romance didn't get that far because they're still young. But they still hinted at it. They still gave you an idea that something was blossoming there. I liked everything to do with it. It was really difficult too. I remember when I beat that game, actually, it was just years ago, as a teenager. I'm a late teen. I was actually intoxicated when I beat it, so I don't remember the ending at all. So it was like only years later when I went on YouTube, because I couldn't beat it normally, that I saw the ending properly. I'm like, actually no, I did see it before that. Sorry, I did go back. Never mind. But it was really difficult. It was Lunar. That's it, Lunar. The Lunar series I couldn't beat. It's over. Anyway, Grandia 1's ending, though, was okay. It gave you what you wanted, but just barely. Just barely gave you what you wanted. And then on a happy note, everyone's together. You know, it's happy-go-lucky. It's not super gushy. Like, for example, the romance they're building on in that game. So for those of you who don't know, I like romance in games, if it's done right.
You fucking homo!
I'm a mushy guy like that. I mean, I'm not like that in real life. I suck at being romantic. But in games, I like watching it in the story in movies if it's done right. It's just nice. I like the romance aspect of games if they do it properly.
He's got an umbrella! What a fig!
Grandia 1, they did perfectly. The ending, they did okay in the sense that you're the main character, Justin is his name, and Fina is the girl's name that you end up getting with. At the end, they hint at it clearly, because they're holding hands, it zooms out, and it says 10 years later or whatever. It goes back to your hometown where your best friend's waiting for you to come home, and then as the boat approaches with you supposedly being on it, the girl who's waiting for you sees all these kids, like 6 kids come off the boat who look just like the main character and his girlfriend. So obviously, so you know now they got together obviously at some point and had 6 freaking kids, which is cute. But all of a sudden it shows, look, here they come. Hey, the end. No, I want to see them grown up. I want to see them as parents. I want to see them as a couple. I want to see how they matured. I want to see why.
Why?
But you end it there. You spend how many hours, months, years on a 40, 50-hour gameplay game just to give me like a cut short ending?
Mistake.
There's no excuse for that. I know I've talked about endings in RPGs before, like Breath of Fire 3, worst fucking ending to a game ever.
Yeah.
Like, how can you have us invest so much time and emotion into these characters and everything, just to give us a cheap ending? Like, Grandia 1 wasn't a cheap ending. It was a good ending. It was okay. It didn't give me everything I wanted. It doesn't make it bad. It's just, I was disappointed that I didn't get to see them grown up. Like, come on. At least could have them come up, grown up, talking to Sue, the girl that's waiting at the dock for you. Give me something, like, and then end it. You know? That's just a cheap blow. Like, you don't show the main characters. Like, I know it's not the point. You don't need to see them. But I want to. Like, I'm a fan here. Like, if I were making this story in this game, I would never do that. I would give you over-the-top ending. More info than you needed, if anything. And then end it. Because then you're not disappointed. You're not left unsatisfied. It's better to have more than less. So Grandia 1 ending was okay. I got what I wanted. They got together, they had kids, had a family. That's great. But I didn't get to see them. I didn't get to see them matured and how they grow up and what life is like for them now. But then when I heard Grandia 2 was coming out back in the day, I'm like, maybe it's a sequel to the first one, and now I'll see what happened. No, it's like Final Fantasy. It's a whole entirely different game. And it's for Dreamcast. Oh boy, I never bought that. Who bought a Dreamcast? Some people did, sorry. But I didn't. And I wasn't planning to. It was a Sega system, and Sega wasn't doing that well. Obviously, they're out of business. PlayStation was doing good, and Nintendo, so I bought one of their systems, since PlayStation didn't let me down last time. And so I never played Grandia 2, never could. Until it came out for PC. This is Grandia 1 gameplay in the background, actually. But it came out for PC, and not recently. I think it came out a while ago, but I only bought it recently when it came on sale. And I played it, just finished playing it, actually. And this is what this rant is mainly about. I had fears it was going to be a bad ending, because when I went online to look up for help on a boss fight in the game, when you fight Ryudo's brother, damn, I forget his name already. When you fight Ryudo's brother for the first time, Melphis, you can't kill him, you can't hurt him. I'm like, okay, so I guess I just die? So I died, and the game has ended. I'm like, what did I do wrong? I can't kill him, he kills me, I lose the game? So I looked on the forum just to see how the hell am I supposed to beat him, and apparently he's supposed to make him trigger the special attack which ends the fight. I don't know what I did wrong the first time. But upon reading the forum, I saw someone talking about the ending, and they said, oh, Grandia's 1 ending was great compared to Grandia 2. I'm like, oh no, I didn't want to read that, no. And I was all like, heartbroken already, thinking, should I bother continuing to play this game? But I wanted to, because the game was going great. I liked the gameplay, I liked where the story was going. Completely different feeling from part 1, though. It was more linear. Grandia 2 is more linear, not as in-depth, and it focused a lot more on the romance aspect, because these characters are a lot older in this game. They're like adults, they're not teenagers like they were in Grandia 1. So they focus heavily on the romance aspect. So you figure, if they're going to focus so much on the story character building with the romance, they'd have a great ending to it, right? No. They left you with nothing. There's no closure. It's like, how can you... What do they play for? What do they spend all these 40 hours for this ending of nothing? I'm so hard... That's what I'm doing at I'm so let down. I'm so angry and disappointed. It's like even Grandia 1. This ending was just not good. I mean, it wasn't awful, but it was like lacking in so much. Okay, so to give you a better idea, the main character in the game, his name is Ryodo. Tragic childhood, his brother turned evil, killed a whole bunch of people, village kicked you out, for even it wasn't your fault. It was your brother, so it kicked you out, because they can't kick out the mass murderer, and he kicked himself out. And you end up being like a mercenary slash, called a geohound mercenary slash guy who just does side jobs. And you're a miserable jerk off. One of your missions now you're getting paid is to escort a priestess or a songstress to do this ritual ceremony thing. You treat her like crap, you hate her at first because you don't really care about anything other than yourself. But then you find out there's a lot more going on with this than meets the eye, that this songstress is like into... as you're escorting her into this tower, you find out she's like possessed by this demon, and there's a lot of dark ritual stuff happening, and you end up spending a lot more time with her than you would think. And of course, spending all this time with her, long story short, you start to develop feelings for her, she likes you back, but she's a priestess and she's not supposed to be with men, so she keeps evading it, whereas you're evading it too because you're a miserable jerk who's now becoming nice because of her, and then all of a sudden this third woman comes into the game, this demon woman that's possessed. Okay, the songstress girl's name is Elena. She, in the beginning of the game, is possessed by this demon whose name is Millennia. And just to sum it up, there's more to it than this. And once in a while, Elena will turn into Millennia against her will. She'll just turn into this demon woman. So once in a while, you'll be playing a game with both women. So naturally, you start to develop feelings for both, though I don't see how. This is where I don't get. Some people on forums were saying, you can develop feelings for... Your main character develops feelings for both. But if you play the game properly, no, he doesn't. I'm not talking about the romance stuff mostly here. Sorry, this is what the game was mostly about. It was about faith and being good guys and saving the world too. But that's in every game. So is romance stuff. But the game focused primarily on the romance aspect because it's about you and there's a love triangle going on. That's what it was mainly about. This is what it bothered me. So this demon girl, Millennia, is totally over the top in love with you. I'm not sure why. She's really not in the game that much. She does some boss fights with you. She's there a lot, but not nearly as much as Elena is. I mean, the game's about you and Elena the whole time. I mean, there's a romantic scene between you and her on a beach, you know, like, in the sense that it's a lot of good, like, you get the feels, you know, there's no kissing or anything like that. There's no romantic scene between you and Millennia ever in the game. There's one between you and Elena, one main one, and then another one where she kisses you, and some people would say, well, Millennia kissed Ryudo. Well, yeah, she forced herself on him, and you're like, that's not romantic. So there's nowhere in this game ever that you get the idea that Ryudo likes Millennia at all. He's all for Elena. It's clear, it's obvious, it's clear as day, especially when they kiss, and he even confesses he has feelings for her. There's no doubt about it. It's about them two. Millennia is just like the third wheel, I don't know, what do you call it? She's in the friend zone, really. Ryudo has feelings for her and loves her a lot because she saved his life, went out of the way for him. But he's not in love with her. There's a difference between love and in love. It's clear he's not in love with her at all. She's just wacko. Even at the end of the game, she's still convinced he's going to come back to her. No, she's not. No, he's not. He's not coming back to her at all. It's annoying that she thinks that, though. It's kind of sad. I mean... But here's the problem I have with the ending now. Did I see the spoilers? So they have this huge romantic thing between Ryudo and Elena the whole time. It's clear they're going to get together at some point. Toward the end of the game, when you think you might die, she comes up to you and says, huge gushy conversation between you two. You tell her, live, Elena, live. You know, whatever. And she kisses you full on, right? It's kind of crappy that they use blocky characters to show it. Whereas you're hoping they would, like, transition to an anime scene or something that would get that effect, a proper feeling. But I guess... if you played the game, you would see the Dreamcast probably didn't have those capabilities or something. It just, they did what they could. They got the point across, though. And at the end of the game, you're hoping, well, they'll show like Grandia 1. They'll show them together somehow. Maybe kids. Something. No. He's not with either of them. He took off. It hints he's coming back. But it makes you feel like he could be coming back for either or. I'm like, no, why? There's no reason he should be at all. Millennia should not at all be in the picture anymore. They're all good friends. But she should have accepted long ago that it's all about him and Elena. She kind of did. When she was going to kill herself and saved Elena for him. Really. You know? Like, it only makes... Like, it just... Some people are saying the ending was left open like that, so you can use your imagination. He's gonna come back someday. Who's he gonna pick? Ooh. No, there's no imagination involved here. He's gonna pick Elena if he comes back. It only makes sense. If he didn't, he'd be the biggest jerk off, dipshit person, dirtbag ever.
Dick.
Leave her hanging like that and go for the trampy slut woman, Elena. You know, like. So no, there's no question about who he's going back to. It's just, why don't you give me that closure? Have him go. Show me the ending with her. Together, happy, the end. Because you built up on that. You can't leave me hanging now. Like,
Who does that? Us. Us. Right.
you can't have a story, a huge romance building up just to say, okay, bye, see ya. No, where's my ending? What that? No. I'm like, oh. I don't know. But of course they say, and both females make it seem like, I have faith he'll come back someday. I'm like, yeah, but it's sad and sick that they're both convinced he's coming back to both of them. So you can't put a threesome in a game. And obviously they're not going to hint at that. That's just frigging stupid and disturbing.
We seek peaceful coexistence.
If anyone is out there watching this video who's into that, great. But that's not romantic, though. That's sexual fetishism stuff. Which clearly they're not going to hint at in this game. But it's sad he left them both hanging, not knowing who he plans on being with. He shouldn't leave Millennia hanging at all. He should say to her, sorry about that. I'm not into you. I made that clear before when you threw yourself at me. And the game just made no sense. The ending was left so much to be desired. It left you with nothing. And I felt like, what did I invest all my time into this game for?
안 알려줌.
And I'm not playing another Grandia game again. Ever. I'm done with the series. That's it. Like, I'm gonna give up on Final Fantasy. I gave up on Final Fantasy for another reason, because I was never about the romance part. Sure, there were some games where romance was hinted, like Final Fantasy VII between the whole Tifa and Aerith thing. Go look that up online. They have, what do they call them? There's separate names for the Tifa Cloud romance versus the Aerith Cloud romance. They have names for these groups of people. Kind of like cats versus dogs. There's Tifa and Cloud versus Cloud and Aerith. You're like, oh my god. By the way, I'm a Tifa and Cloud person, for anyone who ever cares about that.
What are you, a fag?
Sorry, it made more sense for them to be together. Aerith was great, I don't hate her at all. She was cute and all, and she liked him a lot. But she died, first of all, she's dead.
Oh.
Sorry, she's not gonna have any chance now. And those two didn't really make sense, really. I don't know. Plus, they hinted a lot more at Tifa and Cloud being together, but I'm not going to get into that.
That's not
true! I'm sure a lot of people watching this saying, are you talking about romance this whole freaking time? Get lost.
There's no there, okay?
Sorry, I really enjoy that part from games, if it's done right. And the one game that did do it right so far, I keep bringing this up, I brought this up before in previous videos, because so far, this is the first game in a long time that's really gave me everything I wanted in a game. Great gameplay, great story, awesome ending. Oh my god, I was like, for once I feel relieved, I feel happy, I feel satisfied, I can't believe this. It was Valkyria Chronicles, the first one. Everything you could want. They built up the characters, the gameplay, they built up on the romance, and they ended it on an epic note that there's no hinting. You get to see them together. You get to see them married. You get to see them. Well, they don't see them get married, but you see them together. You see them with a child. You see them holding hands with the kids. It's everything you could want. And I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I know every single ending to a game has to be mushy, gushy, romance, love ending. But if you have a game where your primary focus is the romance, yes, you have to provide that kind of ending. I'm sorry. I mean, that's what you're focusing on it for, right? Or if that was a side note, and you're focusing mostly on the whole good guy, bad guy thing, then okay.
Okay.
Like, Final Fantasy VII wasn't about the romance at all. It was hinted in it, and there was a side thing to it, but it's mostly about Cloud and Sephiroth and the whole Genova whatever thing, right? The Final Fantasy VII ending aside still sucked. The Final Fantasy VII ending was terrible. You kill the last guy, here comes the meteor, 50 years later, or 500 years later. What? I don't care what happened 500 years later. What happened the next day? What happened to everyone? But they alleviated my pain and sorrow with the Final Fantasy VII movie that came out. What's it called? I have it here somewhere. And that answered all my questions what happened to everyone. It still left me kind of like, well, Cloud's not with Tifa still, really. He's not with anyone. He's kind of, so, you know, emo guy. I hate to say that word, emo. He's not, but he is kind of dark, lonesome guy. Ran off by himself again, who kind of helps out whenever he can. Alright, but at least I know now. The 500 years later bullshit has now been, I can put that aside, thanks to the movie. Can they make a Grandia 1 movie then? A sequel to that, so I don't happen to them afterward? No. Not Grandia series, not nearly as popular as a Final Fantasy series, obviously. Oh, I had to let that out though. I'm so disappointed. And now I ask you fans who've ever stayed with me this long now, watch this entire damn video, can you recommend an RPG with these elements in it, romance in it, anything? Yeah, it has to be romance in it. I'm sorry, because this is a problem I'm having with games where they focus on this and they don't take it anywhere. No, it doesn't have to be in it. Any RPG that you felt had everything in it. Good gameplay, good characters, good story, awesome ending. And I don't mean an ending like I just told you about, where they left you hanging. Kind of like, well, what happened? Like, where they, what? No, like, closure on everything. I want closure. A game ending that had closure in it. Can someone, whoever watches, a handful of people that watch, please recommend an RPG that has good closure to it.
Observation. I have no clue. Conclusion. Some great and powerful deity must have magically poofed it all into existence.
I played most of the Final Fantasy games, the earlier ones. I don't play any of the newer ones, so I don't have the system for it. It has to be a PC-based game or something I can play on an emulator, because I don't have any new game consoles. Still recommend, if you can't think of anything else, go ahead and recommend a game console game anyway. Maybe I'll try and find a way to play it. But preferably a game that's on Steam, PC, or an older game I can emulate. I feel miserable now. Like, I just wasted my whole time playing that game to get a crap ending. I want to feel relieved again. I want to get a satisfactory ending. So if you guys can recommend anything where the ending, you felt the ending was awesome on top of everything else, even if the game sucked, but the ending was still awesome, and the story was good at least. Like, if the game sucked gameplay-wise, but the story was awesome, and you played just for that reason, just to see the ending, and the ending was awesome, that's good enough for me too. I don't care if the gameplay sucked. Because when it comes to RPGs, I'm about the story. That's the whole point of an RPG, really. It's for the story. I figure that's why I enjoyed them. But there's rarely any RPGs I've played in my lifetime that I can say I thoroughly enjoyed the ending. Barely any. And again, I understand that not all of them are going to give me the mushy-gushy ending. I don't necessarily need that. I just need closure.
I still have the right to closure and to tie up loose ends, and I'd say no, you don't.
Like Breath of Fire 3 again, for example. There was no closure at all. There was nothing. You know people survived. That is it. It's the most bland, boring, pointless ending ever to an RPG. It's like, what did I play all this for? Where's my ending? You got no ending.
Nothing!
You get people walking in the desert. I'm showing it again. Walking in a desert to look off the face of a cliff. The end. That's the biggest punch to the face to your fans you could ever give. Like, I want to make a story now, an epic movie story game, just to punch those jerks in the face, you know? So because I'm just to spite them. So you know what? I'm gonna make an awesome epic ending to a game, just to alleviate all that pain and sorrow over the years. And that's sure I'll be punching those people in the face. But I don't get why game designers or whoever do this. Like, why have an ending like that? Like, it's an RPG. It's not a shoot 'em up Contra game. You know, where who cares about the ending? It's an RPG. The whole thing is about the story. You expect an awesome epic ending.
Welcome to real life.
Okay, I think I'm done now. I just had to get that out. I'm just so angry that I spent all this time on this game hoping for an awesome ending to get Jack. Alright, again, please, if you guys can think of any RPGs where the story was awesome and the ending was awesome too, put it in the comments. Let me know, because I'm dying to play a game that is worthwhile now, just to make up for the pain of Grandia 2. And I shouldn't bash it completely. Grandia 2 was really good, leading up to the ending. I love the whole thing. That's just why it makes me so mad. I love the whole thing leading up to the ending. And the ending was crap. That ruined everything for me. That brought the whole game down to zero. You can't have an epic story that have the epic failure ending. No, that's it. The whole thing is trash now because of that. Everything has to go smoothly. At least Grandia 1 had some sort of closure. And for that reason, made the game still awesome in my books. Just left to be a little left to be desired, if that makes any sense. But yeah. Anyway, I'm not sure this video's looping again. I haven't been paying attention. Now I'm done, I swear. I think. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my psycho angry rant about this. Yeah.